How to Deal When the Shit Gets Real podcast. I'm Marietta.
And I'm Connie, and this is our cousins recording.
Your two favorite people.
Yep. Talking about welcome into the new year, I suppose.
Yeah, happy 2024, y'all.
Oh,
It's
God.
cold and snowy and all the fun things of winter.
Our mortgage said like 20, like what? I don't even know. 20, like 40 or 50. And Tom was like, you plan on being alive then? I don't want to see 2050. What the hell? It was so funny.
That's so funny.
And
I mean, 2050 really, it's really not that far when you think about it.
whatever's 30 years from now.
It
would be 2050 something.
It's 2050 exactly would be 26 years from now. So
a little bit higher than that, but still.
I
can't remember the exact date. But
I thought the same thing when I don't remember when they told us or what we were doing when they said Jackson's graduating year from high school was 2030, and I was like, what?
No, wrong. We can't make it that far. The fact that we've gotten into the 20s is already too much.
Yeah, and then somebody on my Facebook feed posted the other day, they're like, oh, class of 2024, it's been 20 years since we graduated. And I was like, I did not need to see this today. I didn't need to know it's been 20 years since I went to high school. Didn't need to know.
You're like, this is rude.
Yeah. I was like, why do you do this to me? Now I feel old as F.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for that.
And yet they're saying like our age, the millennials, whatever you want to call them, like all look like they haven't aged, and it's like, yeah, because we've been too stressed. Good skincare routines.
Good skincare, yeah. Well, and you haven't. I feel like we haven't reached that point yet. I feel like I didn't really notice that like my mom had even aged until she hit like recently, like 65. Like I felt like she
looked generally the same.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, I don't want to say she looked exactly the same, but yeah, generally, there you go. That's the perfect word. She generally looked pretty much the same. Like,
yes. Even my mom, I still think my mom looks pretty much the same. Like, yeah. It's not like a huge, all of a sudden, man, you look really old, you know? And actually, my mom doesn't even have, even though she's in her 60s, doesn't even have gray hair, really. She only has like a couple of strands, and my mom said once I had a kid, I think. I can't remember if she was asking me. I knew she was asking me, but I can't remember if I had Theo yet. And she was like, well, do I have to go gray? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, maybe I'm just going to go gray and stop getting my hair colored. I'm like, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, you don't have to
just do that. Because you're a grandma. You're fine.
Well, my mom and our aunt were talking about it, how like they felt like they looked the same or generally the same for like a long time, and then all of a sudden they hit like mid-60s and it was like bam.
Hey, that's why that skin care routine is always important.
My mom actually has a really good one, but you know, you can only do so much, and then once you hit, I guess, that certain point, it's just there's no turning back.
Or you have to be like another aunt of ours and get a facelift.
Or that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know another aunt actually said that she wished she would have done it, but never did.
That doesn't surprise me. You have to tell me who it is. I have a feeling, but we'll talk later.
Yeah.
We try not to blast our family too much, guys. We do talk ish, but we still don't want to embarrass anybody because that's just not nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's true. Actually, I was laughing though. There was like a woman who was like 38 or whatever, and she was like, "Oh," and she's like, "This is my skin care routine. Oh, and also I've gotten Botox." And I was like, "So does the skincare routine even matter if you're gonna get all erased anyway by Botox?"
I mean, I bet you it does. I bet you it.
No, it does. I'm sure.
Like, supports it, I guess would be the word.
Yeah.
It is amazing to me how many people, like in like their 30s and 40s, are already doing like Botox and stuff. I guess I don't comprehend why you need it that early. I guess it's in preparation. I don't know. I mean, and no shade to people that do. Like, do what you want. I don't really understand it.
Well, that's why I have like a it's called Buffet. is the serum for your face, and it's supposed to help with like wrinkles and like the plumpness of skin. And my mother-in-law was like, well, why are you using that? You're only like 30. And I'm like, preparing. Like, if I start now,
Yeah. That
it
part
would
I get
only help
because like
me.
you're putting the nutrients and stuff back into your skin. So like I get why you do that.
You're
Like
helping, yeah, you're
yeah,
helping me
to
to
stop it.
stay young.
The Botox I don't quite understand. I'm sure there's probably a reason. I just don't understand what it is. I feel like no matter what I do, because I smile with my eyes, like those lines are just always going to be there unless I stop smiling.
Yeah, that's what I think about my like forehead
Yeah,
lines.
that too. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, if you're facial expressive, like I feel like no matter how much skincare, whatever you use, like if you smile with
Doesn't
your
really
eyes,
matter.
it's not really gonna make a difference.
You know, if you show, what's that word? Emotion.
You show emotion. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Um, we were just talking today about potential places to retire, which obviously we're a little ahead of the curve, but you still got to talk about it, figure out where
Hmm.
you want to be and where you want to go, and it's kind of fun, like discussing all the places that
Yeah,
are
we've talked
possibilities.
about we talked about buying land in Tennessee,
Hmm.
holding it for a while, and then building eventually. And like at first, like building like a summer home,
There you go.
like a small, like one bed, one bath, like house that would be like a guest house down the road, and then like build like a one level, like a few, a larger home
Yeah, for later.
when
Yeah.
it's retirement time, and then selling this house. And then Tom will come home randomly and be like, "Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll leave this house in like 5 or so years. I don't know." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever."
You're like, okay, talk to me in 5 years and we'll discuss.
Yeah, I
Well,
was like,
that's
"We
like,
just got here, so I like don't even talk to me about moving because I feel like I barely unpacked."
yep, welcome to my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another move is well upon us. Well, that's like we were talking with my parents about getting a lake house together, and I was like, all day, let's do it. Let's get a lake house together, and then we can have that, and then wherever we retire to, which we've talked about Tennessee as well, and the Carolinas, and then today we were talking about like Utah. I love like the mountains and stuff, and still I'm fine with snow. Like if my parents want to follow us,
Same.
they're gonna be like no, but I'm still
I love
fine with
snow.
it. Oh yeah, I do too. We got a dusting, and I'm like, why wasn't there more?
Yeah, I know. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, we got so much snow." I was like, "It's barely an inch. Like, come talk to me when it's like much more than an
Go look at
inch."
the videos for Buffalo, New York. They are getting
Yeah,
hammered. Yeah,
really.
they got a bunch. Let's see, last night on top of what they have gotten a day or two ago. So they've got to be. I'd have to look what they're actually at inches wise, but I imagine they've got to be at like 3 feet or something crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah, no, we're just bitterly cold right
See
now.
that I will. I don't want. And from what I've seen so far, unless you get like really into the mountains and like Utah and stuff, it's not going to be like in the negatives. Like it'll get cold, of course, but I
And it'll snow, but
it'll
hopefully not
snow.
the teens.
Yeah. I don't even necessarily mind the teens. It's when it's in the negatives that I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah. No, I agree. Because actually, somebody was asking me, they were like, "Oh my God, you're crazy. You like snow?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Well, then how do you feel about the weather coming up?" And I was like, if it's snowing, it's fine. If are you talking about the negative weather we're gonna have, like that sucks. I don't
Yeah.
like that. But do I like the
Yeah.
snow? Yes.
Yeah, because when you get into the negatives, you have a whole other things you have to worry about being outside too long, if your car's
Hmm.
gonna start, like just it just becomes a lot more troublesome.
Oh yeah, to go out for sure. And then here
Yeah.
we are. Me and Theo are gonna go out today and go to Illinois.
Well, I mean, as long as the roads are plowed, all good.
Oh yeah, no, all the roads are plowed.
But like Kristen, we had Kristen on, um, she lives in Oregon and they got ice, so they're not going anywhere because it's just ice. She actually
It's
sent
too
me
dangerous.
a video of somebody driving. She was like, "Oh my God, look at this person!" And it literally sounded like they were driving on a lake. You could hear the
The ice
cracking of the
crack.
ice under their
That's
tires.
crazy.
And I was like,
Oh
"What
my
is that
God.
person doing?" And she's like, "I don't know." And then, of course, they currently don't have power because all the power lines can't
That
handle
would
all
scare me
that.
more.
Yeah.
That would scare me
So,
more than no power thing.
yeah, absolutely. And we had a snowstorm when I was in college down at SIU, or not a snowstorm, an ice storm, excuse me. And it was the same thing, really scary because it's so slippery, it's so dangerous, it causes so many problems. Um, no, thank you.
Well, that's actually why I like Tennessee because Tennessee, you might get some snow, but in general, it's much more mild. It's not
Yeah,
crazy mild, but like you're definitely not getting like the teens.
yeah,
Like it
absolutely.
depends on where you are in Tennessee, of course, but
My
you're not
only,
getting, you might get some snow, but you're not getting like a ton of it and
mhm,
not getting a ton of like the really, really cold weather.
yeah, absolutely. My only, and I don't even want to say issue with Tennessee because it's more like me. I don't like humidity, and it gets really humid there in the summertime. We were there for Kyle's birthday visiting his sister, and he's the end of July, so we were there, end of July, early August, and it was ugh, miserable.
Now that, but that's to me, that's anywhere south.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Once you
Like
get south,
unless you're going southwest, that's different.
yeah. Once you get farther enough south, like the humidity is just out of control, and I'm just not a fan. I'm just not a fan of humidity. It's why I will never be a Florida resident. I have nothing against
No,
Florida, but I can't.
too
Mm-mm.
hot, too humid.
Too hot, humid. Mm-mm. Not my
I
thing.
know because our uncle would tell us to move to Florida,
Mm,
and Tom was like, no,
no, thank you.
because that would require him to transfer to
Hmm.
Florida, and he would rather work here and be in the cold weather and work outside than be in the hot and humid weather working outside. Like it's a
Oh yeah,
worse monster. Like
same.
it's easier to put out on layers
Hmm.
than it is for you to take off clothes and be comfortable working
Oh
in
yeah,
the heat.
absolutely. No, I agree. I'm with Tom 100%. I would rather like bundle up and be warm. And they offer so many like amazing things now. They have hand warmers and
Oh yeah.
stuff that has heaters in them and really warm jackets. Like I'd so rather do that.
Yeah, Tom has a Milwaukee bright ass red though jacket that has like a battery powered heater
Yep. They make all these really cool things and
that now he wants to sell, but I mean it's beside the point.
oh my
He
God.
just finds the battery bulky.
Speaking of crazy jackets, that was what my mom wanted for her birthday. She wanted like a new winter jacket because like all the jackets she has are like nicer, like I'm going to church,
Going out.
I'm going somewhere, but she didn't have one she could go like shovel snow in or something. And I was like, okay, cool. Oh, that's cool. And of course, like I'm shopping with her because I want to make sure I get her what she
It's what she
wants.
wants.
And then my dad in the background is like, get a Canada Goose jacket. And I was like, Dad, their cheapest jacket is like $1,300. And those are meant for people like Mark, who we interviewed, who climb like Mount Everest and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
you want to get her that jacket, you can get it and I'll chip in like my $200, but I'm not spending
Yeah.
$1,300 on a jacket. And even my mom is like, no, I'll spend that money on a jacket if it was like a mink jacket, like something like that,
Yes.
but not just for like a jacket I'm going to shovel snow in.
Yes. When you just need like a what is it? A Columbia, a puffy
And that's
Columbia
exactly what
jacket.
she wanted. That's what she's like. What about a Columbia? Because I originally was looking at like Duluth, because Duluth is a good company too. They're from Minnesota. Obviously, they know how to make jackets for the
Hmm.
cold. And then he brought that up, and then she's like, "What about we just get me a Columbia?" And I was like, "Let's do it." So that's actually what I ended up getting her. I have no problem spending a good chunk of change on a jacket that's nice, but not $1,300.
No, no, and I never realized how expensive those jackets were until I started working downtown, and I thought people were crazy.
Oh, they're insane.
Hmm.
I couldn't believe it, but I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure those were essentially designed for people that like climb mountains.
Yeah, or who are in like Canada,
Yeah, where it's
where
super
it's
super cold.
cold most of the time.
Yeah, because they rate the jackets. That'll be like this jacket is good from like 10 degrees to -14 or something like that.
Hmm.
But I was like,
Crazy.
no. Also, kind of wild because my dad he's always been Mr. Frugal. He's always been really
I'm
good with
pretty
money.
sure
So
he
that was the
knew.
other thing that
But
shocked me.
anyway,
That he was like,
do you have any
get a
plans
Canada
for
Goose jacket. And I
2024?
was
Like
like,
He
vacationing,
probably
stuff
didn't
you want to
know.
do, anything?
We're gonna go to Colorado. Gonna go hiking in
Nice.
Colorado. Gonna
Where
go
in
stay in the
Colorado are you going?
mountains. It's called Avon. It's a
I
small
know where
town
Avon
in
is.
the. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, that's where we're going for part of it, and then the other part we're going to be in Colorado Springs, going to take a train ride through the mountains for Tom's birthday.
Nice. I haven't done the train ride through the mountains for Colorado Springs, but I did it for Steamboat Springs.
Oh yes, I've been to Steamboat.
hmm Good
Steamboat's
ski.
nice.
Good ski area. But that'll be fun.
Yeah,
I love
that'll be
Colorado.
October, so we won't be skiing. But what is cool is that as a coincidence, when we go to Avon, they will be having their like lumberjack games, which I
So
think is super
cool.
cool. I know.
You better wear your
Axe
flannel
throwing.
and
Oh
carry
yeah,
your axe around.
I just bought a flannel outfit for Theo, and that's 2T, and that's what he'll be in when we go. So
Perfect.
I know. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
no, other than that, though, I did make a resolution that I've just started working on, which is starting to bake my own bread.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I saw in your story. How did it come out?
Oh, it was really good, delicious.
There you go. You're already
Um,
winning then.
I've learned some things because like my loaves weren't like nearly as big. It's like the directions did not say to like oil the bowl or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Like when you're
you oil
done,
the bow and then flip it over
they
and
were like,
then
oh, oh, oil it if you want. Like
oh no, you
you
have
don't
to.
need to. And so I didn't. And like I lost like not a ton, but like I lost a good part of my dough
Mhm.
because it wasn't oiled.
Yeah,
So it's
pretty much
like
any
I've
time.
learned some things already.
Yeah, pretty much any time you make dough, like when we make the
Cinnamon
cinnamon
rolls or
rolls,
whatever else.
yeah, you have to put oil in the bowl, and then not only that, but you have to flip it over because then it keeps the top of the bread from getting dry and the bottom from sticking. So you have to like rub it in the oil a little bit and then flip it over and then leave it in the oil.
Yep. Yeah, so I was like,
That's
okay, I've
weird
already learned.
that it wouldn't
Yeah, no,
say that.
yeah. The directions literally said oil if you want to.
That's
Like
weird.
it did not say like you need to oil it or else it will stick to the sides.
Yeah, that's weird that it would do that. I mean, it's dough, it's sticky.
Yeah. I was like, okay, next time, oiling it.
Next time.
Got it. Yeah,
Oh,
so I was like, oh, I have already learned some things. Okay,
well, there you go.
cool. Yeah.
We're learning, and it's only what, the 17th today? Not even
Uh-huh.
15th.
Yeah, I've gotten back into, well, not back into, but like I've been trying to like prep some things that like we use all the time. So
hmm
like I've done a ton of beef bone broth and chicken bone broth in my crock pot, and like I freeze the portions of it. So it's like when you only need like I have ones that are like just like 2 ounce cubes for when
hmm
I just need like a little. And then I
hmm
have like a 1 cup
hmm
cube. Um, so I've like stacked up on that, and then I just recently did my marinara sauce to stack up on that, which also I put extra vegetables in for the little guy, and extra vegetables can't be bad.
Nope,
Because I mean,
definitely not.
it was like added like I added like a bunch of extra shredded carrots and what is it called, bell pepper to the sauce. Like so,
Yummy.
it's not anything that you'd be like that tastes like I'm eating vegetables. Like it tastes like marinara sauce.
Well, there you go.
It has the extra vegetables in
Yeah.
it. You would never even know. I actually added like the last time I made him pasta, I took like I had like a randomly like a little bit of pumpkin puree left over
hmm
from pancakes. And
hmm
I added it into it. I'm like, oh, you can't even freaking tell the difference. And there's a bunch of pumpkin in this.
There you go.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
And I like having a little extra because if I just need to like make him something, it's like, okay, take 2 of these like little ice cubes of marinara sauce out, and then they store forever in the freezer. You
Oh, yeah.
don't, you know what I mean? Versus like a can. If I open up a can for him, like I'm only going to use 1/4 cup maybe
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
tomato sauce. So
Yeah, it never hurts to have stuff around.
why spend the $5? on one can when I can spend $5 on like a million cans? Because I buy like the San Marzano tomatoes from Costco, and it's like this huge ass can
Mm-hmm.
of whole tomatoes, and it's $5.
There you go. Good
And
old
it probably
Costco.
like, yeah, I was gonna say like it made a lot.
We're about to go to, when we're done with this, I think that's what Kyle and I are going to go do, is go to Costco.
Our next plan is to go to business Costco.
Ooh.
The business center Costco's, you're supposed to be able to get like meat and stuff for an even better discount
Mm-hmm.
at the business center Costco's, because there's 4 businesses. So it's like, even my brother-in-law was looking up, like their chicken was like $1 a pound,
Nice. It's a good deal.
because you're getting like a lot more for your
Mm-hmm.
money. And so Tom wanted to check it out, because like you could buy a whole pig from there if you wanted. Like you
Oh,
could
cool.
buy a bunch of stuff. And we were gonna actually go on Sunday to go and like check out a business Costco and see what like the difference is.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got called into work.
Life happened. It's
Yep.
it's it's all right.
Hmm.
Everything's fine.
Everything is fine. So yes. Do you have anything that you want to do for the new year?
Well, we have to move again, so I have to prep for that, but that's okay.
Oof, and putting up a house for sale.
Yeah, we have to put up our house for sale, and I'm gonna miss this house very, very, very much. Um, I honestly, I mean, I'll miss some things about Virginia, but I will not miss the traffic. So ready to get rid of that. But
Where do you know where you're gonna go next?
hopefully it'll be North Carolina, but we won't know for sure until he gets orders. So we'll get orders
What if it was
probably.
like Korea or something?
That actually, I mean, I wouldn't mind going overseas, and I've said that to Kyle. But the only reason we don't really have it as an option right now is because of Jackson. Um, when he finishes school, like
Oh,
maybe if we get that option, like when he's done with school, maybe we'll take it. I wouldn't mind, a paid trip to somewhere, Switzerland. I don't know. I'm throwing out random names, but that would be cool. But I want Jackson to finish school
yeah,
here.
in here. Yeah, that makes
Here.
sense.
So,
And they
it is
already know
option.
that.
Yeah. Kyle gets. I mean, requests aren't always met, but that's why they either let you pick. I forget what the 2 options are. Like what coast you want to stay on, or something else. And we just told them like we want to stay East Coast, but there's very limited spots for him here, and the Quantico spot's already been filled, so we know for sure we won't stay here. So more than likely, it'll probably be North Carolina, but we'll see. Either way, we're going to be moving this summer, so that's the main thing on the docket. And then
man.
I've set myself up to with my editor to get 2 books finished, so I have to finish 2 books at some point.
Uh-oh,
So yeah.
that's a lot. That's a lot on the docket.
Yeah, well, one's for June and one's for October, so I mean it's pretty spread out. But she gets busy, so I have to put stuff on her schedule now, because if I wait until I'm done, then I'll
You're
have to wait
screwed.
a couple months until she has space on our calendar.
Time.
Which, yeah, exactly. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if shit happens, she's awesome. So, I mean, if something happened and I was like, man, I didn't get this done, she'll just move. I can move it to somewhere else. But of course, I'm going to try not to do that to her and be respectful of her calendar as well. But sometimes
Yeah.
things happen that you can't help.
Mm-hmm.
But those are really my main things. This podcast, the NHL podcast.
You're all podcast up.
All podcast up. Well, and then we started watching Only Murders in the Building. And I was joking with Kyle. I was like, now I want to start a true crime podcast. He's like,
man.
woman.
There are so many of those, though.
There are.
It's
But
like
people love them.
But like, how do you even stand out? I do. I find them interesting. I remember
I
listening
love
to
them.
on the train on the way to work. And
Yeah.
now I don't have a commute, so I don't really need a podcast.
Yeah.
And I don't go anywhere that's all that far, so I don't need a podcast.
They're just so interesting. I mean, like Dateline even turns their stuff into a podcast. So like clearly people are interested. Obviously, it's probably not going to be a thing, but I was like, oh, this makes me want to start a true crime podcast.
Yes. Of course it does.
Of course
It's just not realistic.
Yeah, at least not right now. It's not. Maybe someday. You never want to rule anything out, right?
Rhea really wants this podcast. She really wants a third podcast on her docket. I'm out. One podcast gets me tired.
At
But
least
it's
with
also
the
having
other
a young
one,
baby.
I get to be you, and I just get to show up, and I don't have to do anything. I don't have to edit. I don't have to schedule. I
That's
just show up.
true. That's true.
So
I enjoy being me.
I'm glad someone does. Can we switch for the year? Let's switch roles for the year, and I be you and you be me.
I'm good. You just took that role over naturally. It's what you were meant to do, Rietta.
Do you hear this nonsense, guys? It's fine. Everything's fine.
Yep. I post.
Sometimes. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's true. It's because I hate social media. But I'll post more, guys. I promise.
She will, because I'm going to make her. I'm going to start texting her and be like, did you post today? Did you post today?
No, I'll post. I'm going to text you and be like, I already posted.
Oh, see?
Wench.
All right. From her mouth to God's ear, y'all heard it.
Yep. All right. Well,
note,
this
there
is
you
how
go.
to deal when the shit gets real podcast, and we'll see you all next episode.